Okay, I'm back. Again, my name is Eric. I'm with Woodhouse Woodworks. So I just cleaned up in the garage and there's a lot of sawdust. So before I put this coat on, I do notice a lot that when you put a coat on and you don't clean it or you don't wipe it down really good, it'll get little dust particles in it and it won't be such a smooth surface. So what I've done is I've just taken some paper towels and I moistened a couple of them, okay? And I'm gonna wipe down the entire surface, including the sides, everywhere, just to make sure that it's clean, okay? I'll wipe down this whole process. I know it's wet, but it's okay, because I'm gonna dry it up and I'm gonna turn the fan on for a minute. Okay, and now you're gonna, again, I know that other people use other ways, but this way works for me. You can see the coat that I have on here now is a pretty good coat. It's one thing I'm fairly decent at, and that is putting finish coats on wood. So I'll run around the sides really well with the damp rag, okay? And also, you can see I have the horses sticking out. I like to wipe down that surface just to make sure that I don't get any particles on my brush when I'm applying the coat. And now that I've done wiping it down, I'm going to take a dry paper towel. I'll put the fan on first. The fan doesn't work. That's great. I got to plug it in, so give me a second. So I'm just going to dry it down, wipe it down with dry paper towel. Okay? Make sure I get all the moisture that I just put on off. Now, this is a water-based polyurethane. So if by chance it's a little wet, it would probably be okay, but my OCD will not let me put anything on wet. Again, I'll wipe the sides all the way around really well, like so. And I'll go back over my sawhorse pieces. Again, you can blame OCD for this, but it works for me. Okay, and then just to be safe when I'm done, I'll take a new paper towel and just give it a quick wipe. I don't really have to turn the fan on because I know that it's dry, because I can feel, hey, that's my dog, Davos. And I know that I can feel when a paper towel slides over it nice and easy that it's no longer wet. Okay? I'm just going to go around the sides a little bit, make sure that they're dry as well. And then I'm ready to apply my polyurethane. Now again, this is a spar, I'm sorry, it's not a spar urethane. It is a water-based polyurethane by Varathane. This is my first time, so I'm not getting any money for Varathane. But I do understand there are multiple different types out there. This one I got from Home Depot, and it works well for me. So I'm sure you could use any one, but again, this is a water-based. And I like water-based because I can clean all the products right afterwards. Many people like to leave the brush that they're applying it with and put it in plastic. I've done that, and the problem is it leaves the brush hard. As much as you think it doesn't, it does. So I will clean the brush every single time when I get done using it, just to make sure that it's clean and I can start fresh again the next coat. Now again, this has about 10 coats on it. It's pretty good. I could still see a little grain in there. So I want to make sure that I get enough polyurethane coats on here to where it blends smoothly and there's no grain showing. Now on the sides of this, I have wire brushed the sides to get most of the bark off. We left some on, and there's also some wormholes on here, but I kind of like that feature. It looks good and it tells the story. So this is locally harvested wood for our house in Pennsylvania, and this is going to be our center island. It's going to have about 8 stools around it. It's going to be nice and big, and it'll be a large centerpiece. Okay, I'm going to start applying the polyurethane now. So I've got a nice container here, and it's okay if it drips a little bit, but you got to get to it right away. So So like I said, I'm gonna do this in a pretty fast manner. So just watch me as I apply it. Now, I'm gonna soak my brush really good, okay? And then I'm gonna slab it on, okay? You'll see, it looks really uneven, and I wanna try to make sure I cover thick and well, all spots. Okay, so you'll see I took 2 big brush fulls and put it on in one little section. Okay, there's another little section too, but again, I'm applying this pretty fast because this type of polyurethane dries pretty fast. Yeah, I'm just kind of lathering on, not too fast. You don't want a lot of air bubbles, but at the same time, you don't want to go too slow because it'll start to dry. Okay. Make sure you get every spot. Don't be afraid to put it on. Don't worry about it dripping anywhere. I'll come back and get all of that later. Okay? Don't be afraid to over apply. It's okay. You don't want to, I don't like pouring it on because it's hard to manage once you pour it on. So I like to just kind of give it fairly even strokes, kind of get the thickness out of it when you put it on. Okay? Again, we're just applying it right now. I'm gonna go over the entire piece with this brush when I'm done applying it. But I wanna make sure that it gets on and it gets on nice and thick. Now I do see some air bubbles in there as I'm putting it on, but that's okay. I'll get those out. Now I do have the door open, my garage door, which is a no-no for me, and I forgot to close it. I have my dog down here with me, and unfortunately, I forgot to close the door because of the dog. So I will make it work. Now, I will not close this door until this is already dry, because the dust from the door can get on it. So now, tuck my shirt in so it doesn't get full of polyurethane. And I'm gonna take nice, long, even strokes from the center and work my way toward me. I'll go up and back. Up and back. Now you notice I'm turning the brush because I do notice that one side of this is a little hard at the end of the bristles. So I want to make sure that they're nice even strokes, and basically what I'm doing is I'm just spreading it out evenly from one end to the other, full strokes. I don't care if it drips off to the sides. I'll show you how I take care of that later. Don't be afraid to keep going over it if you have to. So there's that side. Now I'm going to start on this side, starting in the center. Okay. I'm going to work all the way across. Come back. I'll basically even it out. Now, if you see any spots that are really high or uneven, I'm going to come back and get them. I'll show you how I do that. So I'll go with nice even strokes, and you can see how it's starting to even out a little bit. Okay? Okay. You may hear differently from other people, and everybody has their own method of doing it and their own way of doing it. This is how I do it. And I have OCD, so you know it's going to be right. Okay. So now I'm going to take my brush, and I'm just going to wipe off some of the excess a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. And I'm going to start again on this side. And I'm going to do even strokes, but I'm going to put a little less pressure on the brush. Okay? I'm just going to start here. Nice, even, light pressure on the brush. All the way across. And come back this way. Now, if I happen to see a spot where I'm like, oh man, not good, I'll just go back over again. It's okay. You have time, but you don't want to stop and have a cigarette or a beer or anything else in between. Okay? I'm not opposed to drinking beer. I just don't think you have the time to stop. Okay? A little bit of pressure, a little bit of weight. Let the brush do what it's doing. Okay? Just nice and even, slow strokes all the way across. If it's not in a straight line, it's okay. Okay, because it's designed to, I think, blend into itself. So if the line isn't straight, it doesn't really matter that much, as long as you're doing an even stroke from one end to the other. What you don't want to do is stop and start again. Okay, keep your strokes long and even. And that's one half is done. Okay, now I may overlap when I go back over, but that's okay. All right, I'm gonna do a nice long even stroke, light on a brush, start on this side. Now, you can ask me questions all you want. I may not promise you I have the right or the exact answer for you, but I'll give you my answer. Some of the questions might be, well, why are you using waterproof or water-based polyurethane? Again, as I said earlier in the video, I'm using water-based because I find water-based is clear. It gives you the natural grain of the wood, okay, and doesn't stain it yellow or give it an amber hue, okay? And now there's multiple theories on using water-based. I did a little bit of research and found that there's not an issue, but drying time is very important. Okay, so now I'm done. All the air bubbles are out. Everything looks good, okay? Now, you can see I have multiple drips on the sides, on all the sides. That's okay, I'm gonna come back and get them. Now, I'm gonna turn in this brush for a 3-inch foam brush, and I'm gonna show you how. Give me 1 second to get my foam brush. Okay, I got a 3-inch foam brush, and I like to use this because the larger brush will roll up onto the top, and that will mark the top up, and then I'll have to go over it again, hence OCD, okay? So now if you see, I'm just gonna take the brush and I kind of point it on an angle down a little bit, and I roll it like this. Flip it over, roll it a little bit more. Now, people ask, well, why don't you do the sides too? This kind of does do the sides. If you're putting 10 coats on or 12 coats on or more, this just does it. You don't have to worry about actually doing the sides. It'll drip down a little bit, okay? And then I kind of go over a little bit. Now sometimes you might see a little bit up on the side right here. I kind of let that go. Unless it's really, really bad, then I'll try to play with it a little bit. Okay, and I'm gonna do this on all 4 sides. Now the ends are obviously much worse. I can do that a little bit. Kind of hold it on an angle a little bit so it doesn't push it up. Okay, and then I'm gonna go squeegee this off into my container. Now remember, I have my garage door open, which is a no-no, but I'm gonna make it work. Okay, and I go over the 2 sides, a little bit better, a little thickness right up here, kind of work it in, okay? On an angle a little bit, so that way I'm not pushing the polyurethane onto the surface. I kind of hold it on an angle like this a little bit, so when I'm wiping it, it doesn't push it on the surface, okay? Like it did just there. And I roll back on the bottom half a little bit. Okay, again, this is polyurethaning my sides, so I never have to worry about doing the sides. But it is important. Okay, I have a little hair on here, and that's going to bother me, but I'll get it the next time. I'll put another coat on here, and I'll get it the next time. The reason how I'm going to get that hair off is I'm going to sand it with a light 320 sanding grid. Now, I don't sand every single time. I didn't sand this time. But after once or twice, it may get some air bubbles, may get a little bit of hair in there or something. That's okay. We'll come back and we'll get it out. Now, I'm just going to go over the sides a little bit smoother with the brush after I've cleaned it out. Now, you'll see this has some knots and some pieces that stick out. Just work them a little bit. Just try and keep it clean with this brush. A nice smooth stroke. Don't worry if it's even, it'll be even. Same thing on the side. I'm going to run down the side like so. Okay. So again, this takes a little bit of time. but my surface is done. All right, and I like just taking my time, getting everything I need to get off of here, okay, on the entire surface of the live edge and the two ends. Okay, all the while keep going and wringing this out or squeegeeing your 3-inch brush out. Now these are throwaway brushes that I bought on Amazon, very easy to get. Now, I did all of that. I'm gonna take the brush and do the bottom, because when people sit on this island, I don't want to feel on the bottom and feel little pieces of drips on the bottom. So I'm going to run this all on the bottom. There's usually not that much on there, but on the ends there is. Okay, see, there's just a little bit. But on the end, there's always a lot more. Quite a bit. I'm going to go squeegee this off. My container here. Now you'll notice on the floor, there's quite a bit of polyurethane that dripped on the floor. I'll take a rag, and I'll just wipe it up. But you can't be worried about that. If you're worried about that, then just put something down. Okay, you want to make sure that you get all the drips on the entire thing. Moving your sponge brush, foam brush around if you need to. If you feel like there's too much on there, then go take a walk and squeegee it off. All right, I think that looks good. Now, I'm just going to take this a little bit one more time, just make sure that all my, actually I'm going to squeegee it again. Let the video run because I want to show you one more thing that I do. All right, I won't mention OCD again, but I think it makes me a halfway decent woodworker that I have OCD, or I should say a finisher. Now this was a beautiful slab that I picked up from Pennsylvania, and it's going in a house that I have in Pennsylvania. I had them, when I bought it, I had them surface it with a router, okay, which left quite a bit of router marks on it. And I sanded it down. I started off with a belt sander, with like maybe an 80 or a 60 grit. And then I went down to, I think I finished at a 120 grit with the belt sander. And then I came in with an orbital sander after that, and sanded it down to about 220. I think you could leave it at 150 if you really wanted to, but I like going just a little bit more, so this surface looks better. Now this is really porous hardwood, and many of them are, so it takes more than a coat. Now I found that if you use oil-based polyurethane, the oil-based polyurethane covers better. So I feel like you got to put a lot more coats of this water-based on than you do the oil. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a paper towel again, okay, and I put it into a little square, and I run it along the bottom. That way, if you're putting your hands on the bottom while you're sitting here, you don't feel anything rough, you don't feel any brush marks, and it just kind of smooths it out a little bit more. I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking there typically is not brush marks on it, but you know why I do it. Okay, and that's it. Now, typically I would close the door, but because this is a wood shop, there's tons of dust all over the place. It's a beautiful day. I'm gonna leave this on. Now, I live in this is New Jersey, and the temperature gets really, really cold here, especially this time of year. Beautiful day today, it's only 60 degrees, but I have a heater down here as well. So what I'll do is when this dries, typically I'll put the heater on to raise the temperature in here between 60 and 70 degrees. Again, I will not turn the fan on until this dries to touch, and then I can turn the fan on. I don't need the heater today, but once this dries to touch, I'll lower the garage door and turn the fan on. I think that concludes our video. One more thing about our video is I just want to share with you Davos. This is my dog Davos, and he's my shop dog, and he loves to hang out here with me. Okay, I'm signing off. Have a good day.